What up everybody, this is Rocky from Rockabye Media coming at you with another review. Today I'll be talking about the long-awaited Tamron 17-70. Now I ordered this back on January 2nd. I found out about it on sometime in December right before Christmas, and I was debating on whether I should get it because I have a Sigma 17-50 already, but it's an EF lens and I really wanted a Sony mount for my camera, so just something native so I wouldn't have to use my metal bones all the time. I've only had about maybe an hour or so to use it. And so these are just my first impressions. Let's get into it. Now this lens comes in at $799, and if you're smart, you'll add the insurance for $87.99 because yeah, that happened the first day I used my Sigma 17-50. I probably had that lens maybe 3 days max. Brought it out the first day to do a shoot with my wife, and you saw what happened. It fell off my gimbal. I forgot to secure my camera properly, and thank God I had the insurance. Speaking of my 17-50, that goes into one of the pros of this lens. The Tamron is definitely lightweight. There's significant weight that I have with my Sigma. Not to say that it's too heavy, but it's definitely a difference because I'm able to move more handheld and not feel like I'm being tilted down or being pulled down while I'm shooting. One of the main reasons that I got this lens was because of the range. Now that 17 really comes in handy when I'm shooting concerts. My wife is a dancer and sometimes I shoot her concerts, and I really need to get everybody on stage. So being able to go 17 millimeters and then being able to punch in 70 plus go a little bit further with the digital zoom for my FS5, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. Another pro, the price. Now, $799 is not cheap, let's be honest. But for what you get, I feel that is reasonable. At 2.8 all the way through, it's probably the most versatile lens that I have right now. The Sigma lens that I bought, I believe, clocked in around $630, which is also a 2.8. When I put it with the metal bones, it goes down to a 2.0. But like I said, I don't have the range. So it's a mixed bag. It's really up to you how you feel, but for me, this lens, which I'm currently shooting on now, is awesome. Now the autofocus, which is on right now, is pretty much keeping me in focus as I'm moving around. I have the facial detection on. Now if you have a mirrorless DSLR, you won't have any problems at all. Now this is on an older camera, FS5, but it's still doing its due diligence. I've done a couple test shots with my kids with them running back and forth, and it's really held the autofocus on their face and keeping the subject in view as they're moving. Now at 2.8, when you zoom in for an interview, you're gonna get a nice bokeh. I'm not sure what you can see right here. I have it currently set at about 24 millimeters out, so we'll see what that looks like when I get into editing. But as you can see, 2.8, the bokeh is nice. When you zoom out, the bokeh is still nice and it's really thorough. I really like it right now. Another plus, the in-body stabilization. So if your camera does not have in-body stabilization, this is definitely a plus. I believe they call it vibration control or something. I don't know what name Tamron uses, but it's IBIS. It's IBIS. So if you don't have that on your camera, you definitely want this lens because it'll keep your shot still and you can keep it moving even on handheld. Now let's get into some of the cons. I really don't have much to say since I've only used it for about an hour, hour and a half. One thing I can say is that because it's lighter, it does feel a little cheaper, but I'm only comparing it to my Sigma right here. This one gives me a little bit more of an expensive feel, definitely when I dropped it. Now another nitpick is the focus ring is on the back of the lens instead of the front like it is on my Sigma. But I know I keep comparing my Sigma. It was the only major lens that I had for the longest before I got this one. So it's just something that I'll just have to get used to. Now I do wish this lens was a 2.0 or a 2.4. Right now it's at a 2.8. Now that light may not be significant, but the darker it gets, that range really comes in handy. But of course, if they would have done that, the price of this lens probably would have went to about over $1,000 just for those extra stops. One thing I did notice was the sensitivity on the focus. There were times that when I was doing a close-up with my kids playing that I wasn't really sure if I was in focus or not. I know I have my focus assistant on my monitor here to help me out, but it's really sensitive just trying to lock that in the closer you get. But of course, that's with any lens that you get. This one I did see, it was a little bit more sensitive than my Sigma, but I still can work with it. Another con, no buttons or switches on the lens. Any changes that you want to do from auto to manual, you're gonna have to do in camera. As you can see with my Sigma, I do have the option to turn the IBIS on or off. I also have the option to go manual. I can also lock my zoom if I want to keep it at a certain length. But hey, what can you say? $799, 2.8, 17 to 70, can't beat it. So if you're new to cinema shooting, you're already familiar with it, you want to upgrade your lens, you're on a budget most importantly, this is the most all-around lens you can get right now that's on the market for APS-C camera. I highly recommend it, especially for those that have mirrorless Sony cameras, because that extra bit of light that you'll get, especially the autofocus, if that's what you use, it'll really come in handy. So that's all I really have to say. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a little short. Like I said, only had an hour and a half to play with this thing. I'm going to cut this video up, put it out there, and then I'm gonna go to sleep because it's a little late right now and I'm tired. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please check out some of my other videos, my other reviews and short films that I've done on my channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.